Hello, everyone. It's day 71 of President Bola Tinubu's administration, and we are back with an in-depth analysis of events and developments in his first 100 days in office. Thanks for joining us on the program. We'll begin with the Niger coup, where ECOWAS leaders yesterday made resolutions on the military invasion on the democratic process in the republic. The big question would be, what's the implication of these resolutions? Are the borders of Nigeria with Niger safe? And what about the economy of these areas? Here are some of the resolutions we're tracking from the second extraordinary meeting of the ECOWAS leaders. One is that the regional bloc reinstated its strong condemnation of the attempted coup d'etat in Niger, while condemning the condition in which President Bazoum is being detained, holding the National Council for the Safeguard of Homeland, the CNSP, responsible for his safety, his family, and other workers of the members of his government. ECOWAS also upheld all measures agreed upon by the extraordinary summit held on Niger on the 30th of July. That was last month. The resolution goes on to underscore the determination of ECOWAS authority to keep all options on the table for peaceful resolution, while enforcing all measures, in particular border closures, assets freeze on all persons whose actions they consider to hinder smooth restoration of constitutional order, among others. The regional bloc also specifically warned member states who by their action, directly or indirectly, hinder the peaceful resolution of the crisis in Niger. They also have now called on the African Union to endorse all decisions taken by ECOWAS authority on the Niger situation. They're also calling on partner countries, including the United Nations, to support ECOWAS in its effort to, ensure quick restoration of constitutional order, while also directing President of the Commission to monitor implementation of the sanctions. Now, this is the controversial part of the resolution yesterday. ECOWAS directed the Committee of the Chiefs of Defense Staff to activate ECOWAS standby force with all its elements, and also ordered the deployment of ECOWAS standby force to restore constitutional order in the Republic of Niger. It goes ahead to underscore the regional bloc's continued commitment for restoration of constitutional order through peaceful means. So, according to ECOWAS, all the options are on the table. I'm joined now by public affairs analyst and social media influencer Woye Adeyemi, who's live with us in our Abuja studio. Mr. Woye, thank you for joining us. Nigerians are divided right now over the mode of ECOWAS intervention in Niger. We've heard some say this is the decision of the regional bloc and not that of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But how inseparable are these two offices? There are those who will say the President holds sway as ECOWAS chair, and he probably should be ready to take responsibility for ECOWAS's decisions.
Okay, thank you for having me. Good evening, viewers. You see, I can explain ECOWAS protocol in terms of how you have the Senate President and senators. They are all equal. The chairman of ECOWAS does not have any significant votes. He cannot veto the decision of the council, authority of head of states and government. Therefore, the issue with Niger Republic is issue of ECOWAS versus one of their members. It is not the issue of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu versus Niger Republic. And let me put it this way: the president, there's no communication from the president to National Assembly to deploy military troops outside the country. If you recall, we have laws like Section 5 of 1999 Constitution as amended that says the president must seek the consent of the joint meeting of the House and Senate. And you know that the Senate, they are on recess, and that it must obey that section 5(4) of the Constitution. Now, he has not written to the National Assembly to request for troops deployment. So we have to take that. I mean, Nigerians need to know that one. And the president has not declared war against northern Nigeria. The president is pursuing, based on the mandate of ECOWAS, a diplomatic moves to be able to resolve this issue. You see, we've had a very long relationship with the Niger Republic in terms of intermarriage, in terms of businesses, in terms of cultural affiliation, in terms of religion. So we are not at war with the citizens and the good people of the Niger Republic. We are only having misunderstanding with the military boys who are there at the end of affairs right now. So Nigerians should, like the ECOWAS decision, Nigerians should wait and see how we can deepen the international diplomatic moves to resolve this problem. Thank you.
I like the way you put it, Mr. Woye, the military boys, you know, but some would say perhaps they're not boys after all, given, you know, what they've been able to accomplish in the past 2 weeks. But it's understandable why some Nigerians are apprehensive of military action. They're probably considering the cost implication on Nigeria, given the country's current economic situation. Do you agree?
Okay, fine. See, whatever decision ECOWAS would decide, I believe that we are going to give diplomacy, more time. You recall that we have the 14th Emir of Kano that went to Niger Republic, and then 2 days ago, some clerics from Bauchi State came to see the president, and they gave them go ahead. Now, you see, the ECOWAS standby force is not the same as when when Nigerian government was funding ECOMOG to go to Liberia and Sierra Leone in those days. You recall that when we had issues in Gambia, and the President Buhari decided to deploy troops to Gambia to force the then president out of power because he refused to hand over. Senegal government brought in troops. So we brought in our Nigerian Air Force, aircraft. So if you're going to have a deployment of troops to Niger, we're going to have most members of the ECOWAS, especially countries like Togo, countries like Cote d'Ivoire. They're more prone to military coup. And then we have to look at it from another angle. The angle is that if you don't tackle the Niger Republic issue, we're going back to 70s, where we have so many military coups in Africa. So because ECOWAS made mistake with Mali and Burkina Faso and Guinea, we cannot allow the Niger Republic to stand. If you are allowed to stand, we're going to have issues within sub-region. And it means what the junta will have been planning is that, okay, fine, I'm going to be there for 1 year. I'm going to have a transition to a civilian rule. And the guy has been the head of guards for more than 5-10 years now. So we should not allow this particular military guys to stay in power. We must do everything back to get civilian government in place in Niger. So we are going to have a shared, if there will be war, and I won't call it a war, I will call it just a military exercise, because we're not attacking the citizens of the Niger Republic. We're going to attack the military assets to weaken those guys. So the guys, the citizens and our friends, our brothers, our husbands and wives in Niger should calm down that the military operation that will happen, if it's going to happen, would not be targeting civilians. and there will be a shared cost by all of us. But you see, nobody likes war. Even in the normal family issues, I mean, you have problem with your wife, husband, and everything. You can settle it down. You can call your pastor, imam, or elder to settle you guys. So I think let's give diplomacy a chance to be able to achieve a sufficient grant. But like ECOWAS communique said, if after all those guys refused to allow common sense to prevail, then you can go and carry out military incursion exercise, and then get them out. Then restore.
You know,
them back.
The position of advocates of diplomacy would also tell you that, unlike previous exercises or previous coup situation, it would seem that not much of resistance have been reported from inside Niger itself against the junta, you know, except for just a singular story that is yet to be confirmed. There are videos online about a substantial support from the local populace for what the military leaders are currently doing. How difficult do you think that would make ECOWAS's decision for a military action this time?
You see, when military president Babangida came into power in '85, a lot of Nigerians, because he released detained politicians, people started hailing him here and there. You all know what happened. After during Babangida regime, we have SAP, we have June 12. It's a normal thing when there's a new leader, people will start hailing them. But the reality is that the same, if you have read the coup speech of General Garba when he took over from, when he announced the coup against General Gowon, who was in Addis Ababa, and against Shagari by General Buhari, and Abacha too, the same thing, the same statement about corruption, about human rights, about all sorts of excuses. In the same copy and paste happened in the Niger Republic. If you read the coup speech against President Bazoum. So for me, it's just like honeymoon. After 100 days, not like if you get married to a new wife. I mean, after going to Dubai or whatever also, the reality comes in with house rents, school fees, all sorts of things. So Niger people realize in the next 2 months that the things have not changed. In Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Guinea today, nothing has changed. In fact, it's getting worse. If you look at the latest statistics from World Bank and the S&P ratings for those countries, I mean, they've gone down. They've gone down. So I don't think it's a source of concern. And mind you, that's another chap.
Let me just button. Let me button very quickly, because I want us to be able to explore a few other issues, apart from this one. But the situation, I get your point about what will happen in the next 100 days, for instance, if the military leaders are able to hold on for that long. But what about what's happening here in Nigeria? Already there are 6 states that share border with Niger that are already feeling the economic impact of the border closure. We've had a couple of reports from that side of Nigeria, how trucks, are stranded, how, people are not able to move, families are now being separated because of the border closure. How do you think the Nigerian government should be reacting at this time? How do they explain to those people what kind of involvement and engagement should be going on? And how do you also see this affect President Tinubu's rating and acceptance back at home?
Okay, fine. Of course, it's painful that someone that is going to see his in-law and everybody in Niger Republic, you can't go there again because of the border closure. Yeah, but the president met the governors, those governors within neighboring states to the Niger Republic, and the president explained to them So I do expect the governors of that state to explain to the people that the worst democracy is better than a military rule. So, and I should understand what is going on. I know very well. You see, the narrative that President Tinubu is punishing people of those particular states, it's a lie. The people that are peddling those narratives are the disgruntled elements who refused to move on after the election. So, but now that the president is speaking through National Orientation Agency, through TV stations, radio stations, explaining to them that the best form of government is democracy. And I think our people in the North will understand and will look at it as a sacrifice. For just the next 1 or 2 months, all these issues will be resolved. That is my belief. So the governors need to do more in terms of explaining to people. And genuine people in Nigeria are supposed to, the North ought to also explain to support government in terms of giving a right information that this is not the way to go. You know, if that's also makes further means for education to go back to secondary schools to be able to bring back, to have history in our curriculum, to be able to explain to school children that democracy is the best form of government than military government.
All right, so we're going to take a short break. When we return, we'll turn our attention to what's happening with President Tinubu's Federal Executive Council. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. You're watching First 100 Days, where we explore the events and developments in President Tinubu's first 100 days in office. Now, the big hurdle to cross for the 45 ministers cleared by the Senate when given the portfolio by the president will be to stimulate economic growth, create jobs, reduce poverty in order to achieve the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President. Nigerians are waiting to see if the appointment will match their capacity to deliver. I still have with me in our Abuja studio public affairs analyst Woye Adeyemi. Thank you for staying the course on the program. So 3 days after Senate confirmed 45 out of 48 ministerial nominees, are you concerned they are yet to be sworn in, given this is a race against time?
No. Yeah, I think they was concluded this week, and the due process is the Senate clerk will send the reports of the confirmation through the senior special assistant to the president on 6.
The SSA to the president on National Assembly already confirmed that has been done, that the Senate has informed Mr. President about the confirmed nominees.
Or the nominees on Tuesday. Well, done on Tuesday, and ECOWAS summit came in on Thursday, so I believe there will be swearing in on next week. And everybody will be assigned a portfolio. I think that's the problem that Niger is giving us so much distraction. So there's no cause for alarm, and we have a good. The list is 90% okay, as far as I'm concerned here. And I think Nigerians should expect a better service delivery and efficient ministers. But you see, there will be performance benchmark this time around, such that if you don't do your work very well, you go back home.
It's interesting you said that Niger is becoming a distraction, so you understand what some Nigerians are saying, that we have bigger problems back at home. But there are insinuations that one of the nominees, whose confirmation before the Senate is still pending, has withdrawn his interest in the appointment. That's yet to be confirmed. But as an APC member yourself, how important, or let me say sacrosanct, are these 3 nominees who are yet to be confirmed to the Tinubu's cabinet?
Yeah, for the first person we are talking about is Malam El-Rufai. Everybody that says in Abuja, I want to know what he did. That's his performance. So you cannot take it from him. And when he was a governor too, I knew that it came in just, the night to, the screening. So maybe sometimes it's credentials for security clearance late, and there was a petition. Everybody, saw it on the floor of the Senate. The issue is, I don't want to join people that are speculating. Now, you remember in year 2003, then President Obasanjo, he sent Professor Borishade 3 times to the Senate for confirmation. But the last one, the confirmation last one was 65 votes against 44 votes in Senate that time. And President Obasanjo was still submitting his name. And at the 4th time, the Senate confirmed him. So we have precedents of Senate rejecting people. And still, if the president in his own wisdom, and I believe Malam El-Rufai has a lot to offer Nigerians. If you can forgive Bosu Tijani, we should be able to also look that same way for El-Rufai based on maybe his utterances. Then for Senator Daladi had issues that the legal section of the Senate must clarify. There were 2 cases. The one that went to Supreme Court that said Daladi was barred for some years from taking office. And I watched him. He could not be able to explain to the senators clearly whether there was another judgment, as he claimed, from Jalingo. So I think that case is just a legal case of having opinion. And Stella issued to a petition, and I think once investigated, and the president, in his own wisdom, feels that he can bring them back. But these 3, the 2 gentlemen and 1 lady, they are also competent people, in their own right.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to it. Nigerians are expecting this administration to hit the ground running as it's promised, particularly what the new ministers will now bring to the table. Woye Adeyemi, public affairs analyst, social media influencer, a member of the APC. Thank you for talking to us on First 100 Days.
Thank you.
That's our program this week. You can watch a repeat broadcast at midnight and at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Do have a wonderful weekend. I am Nifemi Oguntoye.